Hi everybody, welcome back to a new video. I've got some things to share with you today, so sit back. I hope you're drinking something wonderful and lovely, whatever it is. This shouldn't be too long today, but the past couple of weeks have been a little challenging, and yeah, in the past 24 hours have been a little extra challenging. So I may or may not have done a little bit of stitching retail therapy. It's not too bad, but it's pretty. So anyway, I'll start with my WIPs and stuff, and then we'll get to the haul more towards the end. And so yeah, let me show you what I've done this week. So I think I had a big push on my treasure hunt bookshelf, which is a Heaven and Earth design. So let me show you the artwork by Amy Stewart. And then this is what it looked like last time. And here is what it looks like now. So I haven't finished the 6th page, but I'm pretty darn close. And honestly, if I had had like 2 more nights to work, I probably could have finished it. I know I could have finished it, maybe even 1, if I stayed up like a little too late, extra late, which I do frequently. But anyway, so I finished filling in all of this, and it's really just a few sections here. And part of the reason why it's not done actually is that I have done a fair bit of stitching below it, because I've started to be afraid of like seeing a page break in the stitching. So if there's a natural section like the dress or something that just sort of naturally continues down and I have a lot of thread on my needle, I might just go ahead and stitch it rather than park, just to try to ameliorate that a little more. And then I think, well, when I get to that page, that's just the faster that page will go, because there's so much more that's already been stitched, right? I don't know. But anyway, I'm loving this. I originally had like grand plans for finishing this pretty quickly, and then I got a little bit more realistic and I said I wanted to finish 6 pages by 2020. It's definitely going to happen. So the only thing that remains is to just kind of move past it a little bit and start working some more. So anyway, this is Treasure Hunt Bookshelf. Let's see, the next one that was a big focus piece for me was Lady Hera by Mirabilia. So here is Lady Hera by Mirabilia. And let me show you what she looked like last time. And this is what she looks like now. So what I've done is I actually finished the 3823. This is all one color here. And I was doing these darker yellows over here, and then I started working over here. So I am working on the center dress, and then there are some more flowers down here, and more of the orange wrap. So if you look at, I'll show you what I'll be stitching. So I'm trying to get the yellow section right here done, and then probably the orange, and then the flowers. And after that, I'll have to decide, do I want to do the curtain over here, or do I want to work on the peacock tail, which is huge. So sorry for the glare. I guess that doesn't really help. Anyway, this is Lady Hera. And then I gave a lot of love and attention this week to Nora Corbett's Monkshood. And so this is I'm stitching this on a 28 count natural linen that I over-dyed, hand-dyed myself with dark brown and violet. And anyway, so let me show you what the original design looks like. And here's how she looked last week. And this is what she looks like now. So I've basically stitched the wings minus beads, and I've done a lot on the dress. And I've actually taken her off the frame and started stitching in hand a little bit because I was doing just these long columns of stitches, and I started doing like the sewing method, and so keeping my needle on top and just sort of doing this, you know, down, 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 and it's making it go really, really quickly. I still feel like my stitches are neat, and so I'm liking it so far. And I need to finish this paler pink in the center, and then there's a darker pink that is here, and it's just like columns 3 stitches wide that kind of go all the way down on either side, and so those will be perfect for stitching in hand. And then, you know, there's more to the dress obviously, but I've really, really enjoyed working on this. I think it's beautiful, and oh boy, guys. Yeah. Anyway, so those are 3 main pieces. I did have a new start, which might be a timeout piece. Let me see if I can find a picture of it. Found it. So this is from the October 2019 Just Cross Stitch. And this is a colorful leaves project, like pincushion, with 2 sides to it. And so you've got side A and side B. And I just wanted to try making this. I thought it looked pretty. I'm kind of still in a fall mood right now, not quite into the holiday stitching just yet. And they called for Witch Help linen white chocolate, which I happen to have, not in the 28 count, but in 32, because I had bought Roses of Provence, and I bought the called for fabric, didn't like it, and so I thought I'll stitch some smalls on it. And so this is my start. And this is how I feel about the fabric. Not that it's bad necessarily, but it just slows me down a lot. It's very stiff. You know, I had to frog a whole leaf because things were just off, and you can kind of see, I think that's showing, you can see where I frogged it, so I don't know if I restitch if that's going to show up. So I'm seriously thinking about just sort of like not doing this project and kind of like letting the linen sort of go. We'll see. I don't feel super attached to it, and it's kind of been in timeout for the past couple of days. I was working on it, like trying to do like a leaf a day or half a leaf a day, and then lately, no, it has been working. So there's that. Travel stitching. So I did get some work on my travel stitching done. It's called Rosette. Let me show you the picture of what it will look like when it's done. Well, not really what it will look like when it's done, but this is the picture that comes with the pattern. And this is what it looked like last time you saw it. And this is what it looks like now. So I've been able to do a fair, you know, bit here. I mean, it's just kind of slow going. Yeah, it's a little slow going, but you know what? It's pretty and it's nice, and it's, you know, only uses the B5200, and this is a 28 or 32 count wood shelt linen, which is kind of that stiff linen, but this one is a little bit softer than the others, and I really love the color. It's Riviera Aqua. So anyway, travel stitching. I actually got stuck someplace without my travel stitching one time, and I was kicking myself for not having it with me in the car, because I usually have it with me in the car, and I didn't that day. And a voice in my head had told me, you know, take it with you. And I was like, no, there will be no opportunity to work with travel stitching. Don't go back into the house and get it. So I didn't. And then I had a sleeping 2-year-old, and I needed to let her have a nap. And so I just ended up like being on my phone for a while, and I didn't really like to do that. So lesson learned, right? And now I brought it in to show you, but typically this now lives in my car, even though it's getting really cold here. That's fine. It can live in the car. I have relatives coming in like a week and a half, but until then, I think I will make a decision about this, what I want to do with this. And I imminently think I will finish the 6th page of my treasure hunt bookshelf. I think I'll make progress on my other patterns, because I anticipate a lot of new starts coming up here, either, you know, starting on Thanksgiving, starting around Christmas, starting in 2020. You know, I may go from having like 8 WIPs to like 38. It's absolutely possible. And so I'm getting ready to show you my haul, and I think the way I'm going to do things is in a week or so, you know, with family coming, I might not have as much time to stitch. So I might take one of the weeks, and instead of giving you kind of like a WIP update, because there might not be much to show, instead I will be maybe doing a little bit more of a stash parade and showing you what I have in my stash, what I'm likely to start or hoping to finish in 2020. So I think that'll be coming up in a, you know, maybe a couple of weeks, something like that. So anyway, retail therapy. I took some patterns with me to get materials, and I actually really should have organized this a little bit. And there's lots of bag crinkling. Hold on. Okay, I'm slightly more organized. So I showed you a couple of weeks ago that I ordered Tired Trio from Plum Street Samplers, which I think is amazing and adorable. And I have all the DMC that it used for, but it uses some Classic Colorworks and some Weeks Dye Works. And I tried to picked up what they had, which was most of the specialty. However, when I bought this pattern, when I saw it online, I thought, oh, it's so pretty. They're pink flowers. But actually, they're not pink. The colors of the floss used in here are like these really muted kind of brick reds, which are pretty, but it's not what I wanted. So instead I picked out, let's see, Sweet Petunia and Porcelain and Tea Rose. So a very, very pale pink, a kind of like palish medium pink, and then, you know, a darker pink. So these will be the flowers. And, oh, and I also, the green is like this really, it was like this really kind of obnoxious slimy green, which was like actually called mossy. But I decided instead to use grape leaf, which is a little bit darker. And with the lighting in the room, it's nighttime right now. I usually don't film at night. It's showing up darker. But anyway, I do want to start this soon. I'm just stitching it on natural linen, and I have a bunch of that. So I have, you know, I'm just kitting this up. The next thing, I've also shown this to you before, is Hello Winter, also by Plum Street, because I am stitching the seasons this year, so I'm trying to do at least one seasonal piece per season throughout the year. And so Hello Winter is one. I was able to get a majority of the week's dye works. I think there might be one or two I have to order, but anyway, very pretty colors. And the shop I went to, which, by the way, I don't have an LNS, a local needlework shop. I have a couple of fans, far away needlework shops. So it's always driving, you know, hours to get to these shops, but it's worth it. It's worth it to me. This shop had Picture This Plus. So they had, this is a 36 count Picture This Plus fabric that's called pewter. So it's like a very pale mottled gray. It's a cooler gray, not a warmer gray. And I actually thought it would look really pretty against some of the threads. I've actually never worked on 36 count, but I've wanted to. So this is going to be my opportunity. And I'm hoping to maybe fit all 4 pieces. I would not frame them together, but my hope is to fit, if not 4, then maybe 3, something like that, to fit what I'm doing on this piece of fabric. So anyway, I'm working on kitting that up because that is going to be one of my, maybe like a January 1st start, is to start stitching winter. And then just because I was there, size 26 bow and needles, I always need them. And because, again, of Floss Tube, I picked up some Anchor Black, 4 different skeins, just to see if it really does cover better. I'm sure it does. Everyone says it. So I'm just jumping on that bandwagon, which, speaking of that, I am probably starting another full coverage design. It's called Meeting in the Turret Stairs. So let me show you the artwork. And I picked up this piece of just cream colored 28 count Lugana, and I plan on stitching it 2/1 half stitches, and perhaps, you know, in this design there are large areas of color blocking, so maybe stitching some of it in hand and some of it using a Q-snap. But anyway, I'm really happy with this. I didn't want white fabric. I knew I wanted 28 count, not white. And then beyond that, I just went with how it felt. So I wanted it to be kind of supple and thick, but I didn't want the fibers to be so fat that then it made it a little bit more difficult to stitch. And this feels really, really, really nice. So I'm happy with this. I'm happy with this piece right here. And then what else did I get? Oh, I don't think I've shown you this because it just came. One of my unicorn patterns is a lavender and lace that I saw when I was big into stitching in college, the end of high school and college, and I loved it. And I told myself that I should get this pattern, and then I said, no, you've bought enough, you know, you'll buy it later. And now it's harder to find. So it is Firefly Fairies by Lavender and Lace. And I found it on eBay and ordered it from someone in the Philippines, and it came. So in really good condition. It was unopened and it was lovely. So I am so excited about this. I saw Tash the Star-Crossed Stitcher finish it, and that sort of like jogged my memory that I love the pattern, that I wanted to stitch it, that I had to find it, and I'm sure you know how that feels. I had thought about using natural linen and kind of doing the bleach technique, and then I kind of backed off on that idea. And I went on Fabric Viewer and I tried this design on some different colors of fabric, and I actually thought that it looked really, really lovely on blue. So I found a Picture This Plus, really, really, really lovely blue. This is called Zephyr, and this is a 32 count. And I got a nice piece, big enough to fit the design, not a problem. Plenty of room on each side, and I think I'm just going to use this fabric. And I have in my mind to maybe do a color conversion on the green and the red fairies, but I don't know. I'm just so happy to have this pattern. I want to stitch this. I don't know why I didn't look for the beads while I was there. What was I thinking? Oh well, I guess I have to go back. Okay, over the summer I found a really nice printed linen, I don't remember what count it was, that has like a very subtle kind of beehive hexagon pattern on it, and I knew what I wanted to stitch on it, and I finally found the pattern. So it's Miss Queen Bee by Nora Corbett. So I don't know if this will be a 2020 start or not, but I have now pattern and fabric. So the creme de la creme is 2 kits that I found. And oh, they're so nice. So they actually had some primitive hair patterns. And so this is the Old Winter. And they actually had the 30 count linen that's called for. And I have been lusting after this, you know, online on, you know, their Etsy shop, and I've seen other people pick up Primitive Hair's linen, and here it is. It's a 30 count. It's really pretty. I love it. I'm really excited. It was actually one of my sort of 2020 goals, was to stitch a primitive hair, and I didn't think that I would be doing it on any of the called for fabric, and surprise, I am. So this was really nice. So I was able to get these 2 things as a kit. And then and then I saw this last item. Actually it was in like under the glass at the front counter, and it is Mirabilia's Thanksgiving Harvest Fairy, which I don't even think 123 Stitch sells. It looks a little bit worn, although everything is here, and it comes with a nice piece of linen, the pattern of course, some, I think they're from the UK, some hand-dyed threads, and then 2 packs of beads. So I was really excited to have this. So anyway, that is everything, haul and progress and stuff like that. Over the next week, I'm hoping to make some good progress and do another video. And guys, I hope you get a ton of stitching done, and I hope to see you soon. And thank you for everybody who's left comments on my channel. They've really made my week, made my day, made my year. So thank you so much. I love hearing from you guys. Bye.